Welcome to Co-op Chronicles. This is episode 82. Yeah, 82. Okay. Welcome back to Co-op Chronicles. I am Pint-Sized Geisha. This is episode 82, and I have Blacklabel.
Hello.
And Azzilee.
Hello.
And I went a little bit out of order in my intro, but today is...
We're going to be talking about the Lindsay Buziak case. I mentioned this before to Azzilee.
Lizzie Borden.
No.
Buziak.
Okay.
Quick
She was
question, real quick.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say their real names on this, but can we have your friends on to do a podcast? I think that'd be really fun.
What friends?
The ones we were just talking about. Who like Umbreon.
Oh, John and Jared?
Oh.
Yeah. Am I allowed to say their names on
Yeah, I don't think they
Okay.
care. Yeah, we should. But she's like always working, and he's always working. I think they can... I'll talk to him about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Anyways. Any PSAs?
You know, I feel like every time I go to work, I'm like, I need to remember this as a PSA. And then I get here to our podcast, and I can't fucking remember
Yeah,
any
get
of
a
them.
memo pad.
Like, I need like
jot
a
it
memo pad. I can't remember.
Gotcha. Well, Merry
Any of them.
Christmas. It's the day after Christmas.
Yes, Merry late Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Happy holidays.
I thought I was going to be an adult, so I filled up a big-ass glass of tequila, and I was like, oh, I'm going to sip this. No, it's rough.
No.
I shouldn't have filled it up. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm not
Yeah.
that grown. But yeah, so should we get into it? You want me to crack it open?
Sure.
Talk about the Lindsay Buziak.
How's everybody doing?
Oh, yeah, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, you
we
always
haven't done
forget.
it. No, I don't
You
forget
always
it.
forget to
We
ask
just
us how
haven't
we're
done
doing.
it in a while. Awesome.
I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm fine.
Everybody's...
I have do you guys think I should cut my hair a little shorter? Like,
No,
like
that's
to my
good.
chin?
No, I think
No,
right
that's
there's good.
perfect, yeah.
What do you guys think?
Oh, my God.
I think that's good. I need to layer my hair. It's so heavy.
We've been going crazy with these Labubus.
The
Yeah.
boo-boos.
I have so many of them.
We have a slight... Well, I only have what?
Mom's
I have
going a
3.
little crazy on
Yeah.
them.
Moss got like 7 at least.
Jeez, crazy.
I shouldn't just like. I kind of want to see what her room looks like. Does she have a shelf just full of collectibles,
Well,
like a nerd
because
cabinet?
our house is so small, like the closet's really small, so she has 2 like standing closet things.
Oh, gotcha.
So she hangs them on like one of the little racks.
Oh,
so they're
gotcha.
it's kind of organized. It's very nice.
Yeah,
Why does
yeah.
this guy's arm feel shorter than the other? It looks shorter than the other, too.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
That's how you know it's authentic.
Yeah.
But it's like I was just wondering, like, does mom need a nerd cabinet for all her like stuff? You know,
Oh, I don't think she...
put all her.
Sorry,
stuff.
we don't have a lot of room.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get into it, all right? A murder designed to leave no answers. So I want you guys to picture the scene very clearly because every detail matters in this case. So it's February 2nd, 2008, a quiet Saturday afternoon in Saanich, British Columbia, a newly built house in a peaceful neighborhood, the kind of place where nothing ever happens. Inside the house is a 24-year-old real estate agent named Lindsay Buziak. She's doing what she should be doing as a normal routine, showing the kind of like houses or dozens of times like she's done before. She's meeting a couple interested in buying the property. They reach out through her phone, ask specific details and questions, insisting on seeing this house. Nothing about it felt urgent. Nothing about it felt dangerous. Nothing felt out of place, at least not yet. So Lindsay never walked out of the house alive again when this happens.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. And the reason this case still haunts people isn't the brutality of what happened inside. It's how cleanly planned it was and how cleanly planned it appears to be. Because whoever did this didn't panic. They didn't improvise. They didn't leave behind obvious mistakes. They showed up with a plan and vanished like they were never there. So, babe, clearly you like murder mysteries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Before we even get into the suspects or theories, I want to ask you, when you hear about a crime that feels designed, like I just
A crime
stated,
by design.
yes, rather than impulse, does it hit differently?
I feel like it does. Like, there's a crime of opportunity,
Crime of passion?
a crime of passion, a thought out, methodical crime is to me more scary, because then that person needs to do research. They have to follow you. They have to like understand your movements throughout the day.
Yeah.
It's not just like somebody almost ran me over and I hit him over the head and what happened. It's like, I've been watching you for 4 weeks and I know exactly where you're going to be on every day.
Right.
No,
That's
what I think.
I agree. What about you, Az?
What was the question?
When you hear about a crime that's like designed rather than impulsive, does it come across differently?
Yeah, because I think everyone can relate to crimes of impulsivity, if that's a word. Like, we all have those moments where like, I can't go to jail.
Flip this guy.
I wouldn't survive.
This guy flipped me off at the parking lot. Oh, I'm about to say that. Oh, I should have said that.
Yeah, so like everybody is capable of that, but not everybody's capable of methodically thinking out a step-by-step plan to truly kill someone and get away with it.
Yeah, that's like a little crazy.
Yeah, that's like serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes this case a little unsettling. That it doesn't feel like something went wrong. It feels like everything that happened was meant to happen, and it happened exactly the way it did.
Happen.
So Lindsay was young. She was successful and well liked. She had started building real momentum in her career. Again, I said she was a realtor. Friends described her as cautious, professional, and not reckless, especially when it came to work, which is very important when you think about it, because the first questions people ask in this case is like, why did she agree to showing this house? Well, obviously she's trusting, and she figured that it was going to be like a normal routine, so she didn't think like anything was going to be crazy.
Yeah.
The people that she spoke to sounded normal. They used real estate language. They knew what they were talking about. They even mentioned having specific requirements that made the house appealing. Nothing seemed dangerous. Nothing screamed danger when she had this conversation with them. But there was one thing that stuck out later, something subtle that wouldn't raise alarms at the time, but feels chilling in hindsight. So they insisted Lindsay comes alone. No colleagues, no extra agents, just her. Well, I would think that's just a big red flag. Like if they're asking me to come alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Geisha, when you think about that, not as a red flag in the moment, but looking back, does it feel calculated to you or just coincidental?
That she went to show the house by herself?
That they asked for her to show it alone?
Yeah, a little bit. But at the same time, okay, so my uncle was a realtor, right? And I would go with him to like look at houses and stuff like that, and I loved it, right? But back in the day, most of the time you did go by yourself, Maybe it's just them asking like, hey, just make sure you're by yourself. It's just a little strange.
Yeah, that is a little strange because
Yeah.
like when the person showed up to this house, she was by herself.
Yeah, like most of the time you go by yourself, right? Like even in an apartment, they go and they show it to you by yourself.
It is very weird that
Yeah.
they specifically said, hey.
Yeah, like, hey, ooh, just make sure you're by yourself when you
Yeah.
come. That's a little like red flag to me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But if they wouldn't have said it, then I wouldn't have thought about it as a red flag.
Yep. So once you start lining up the details, that becomes, it's hard to believe that was a random thing. So when Lindsay arrived at the house, neighbors didn't hear screaming. They didn't hear a struggle. They didn't see anyone running. What they did see briefly was a man and a woman near the home, a couple, calm, unhurried, ordinary. And that's one of the most terrifying parts of this case is that the people that are believed to be responsible, they did not look like they were panicked or in a hurry. Like they just seemed like regular people, not suspicious. They didn't look like criminals. They blended in. So inside the house, Lindsay was stabbed a dozen times. There was no sign of robbery, no forced entry, no clear motive left behind, just violence and silence.
Violence and silence.
Yep. This case isn't about a missing suspect. It isn't about a mysterious weapon. It isn't about the lack of evidence. It's about too much control. Someone chose the victim. Someone chose the location. They chose the timing, and then they walked away. And more than a decade later, no one has been charged with this case. So as we move forward into this case, what unsettles you guys more about what I just said? The fact that it's unsolved, or the fact that whoever did it planned it this way, or...
I feel like...
Oh,
go ahead.
No.
No, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'll go.
I always go first.
Girl,
Go
it's
ahead.
all you.
Go, one of you. 1, 2, 3.
I'm not going.
I forgot what I was gonna say. I literally. Oh, I was gonna say that's unsolved. Because those cases always stick with you, you know. Because you're like, what if they don't ever find the killer, or what if it's like the Jack the Ripper case, where it's like hundreds of years later, and they're like, yeah, still no killer, guys. What?
They solved that though.
Yeah, recently.
Recently.
Yeah.
This was in like the 1600s.
Yeah,
True,
so it's like,
true.
you know, imagine that they never solved this, and then
Yeah.
it's like decades, centuries later, they're like, oh, we finally figured it out, guys. And it's like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, what's crazy to me about it is like it wasn't like a long time ago where forensics was bad. So it's just insane.
Yeah. What was it, 2008?
2008.
Yeah, not even that long ago. Almost two decades.
Do you remember what you were gonna say, or you want me to just continue?
No, what I was gonna say is like, I binge watched CSI. Okay, all 16 fucking seasons, and to me, my mind immediately went to: has there been other cases like this? What kind of evidence did they leave? Is it? Can we link it to another case?
I guess that's what you're gonna find out.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the most scariest to me. Right? Is that it's unsolved. The killer got away. Could this be more? Could this be a serial killer? What does it happen? What happened? You know?
Yeah.
We need profilers
Yeah.
to like look into decades of murders and mysteries
I know.
and
Yeah.
find a common thread.
Yes.
Yep. So the phone call is what started this trap. Okay. So before Lindsay ever stepped into the house, the most important part of this crime had already happened. It was with the phone. So in the days leading up to February 2nd, Lindsay received a series of calls from a woman who claimed to be interested in buying a home. The caller sounded professional, knowledgeable, calm. She used real estate language, the kind that instantly puts the agent at ease. Like, okay, they know what they're talking about. So it wasn't somebody fumbling when they were talking or fumbling through the conversation. She knew what she was asking for. And the woman explained she was moving from out of town with her husband. They were looking for something specific, a newer building, a certain layout, a price range that happened to line up perfectly with the home Lindsay would eventually show them. And the detail matters because this wasn't a random listing. This wasn't a, let's see a few places and decide. This wasn't a targeted request. It was like they knew what they were looking for. Geisha, when you hear that, specifically, or the confidence, the way this caller spoke, like if you heard somebody talk to you with the right jargon, you know?
The jargon.
Yep, the right jargon.
What does the jargon mean?
Jargon?
Jargon?
Like
Yeah.
the language that
like,
they use?
like they know what they're talking about, jargon.
Oh, I never heard that before.
What?
Like medical jargon.
Yeah, like medical jargon.
No.
You never heard that before?
No. I grew up on an island.
Baby, you're 36.
You're in the medical field, though. What
But I've
kind of
never
words?
heard the word jargon.
What kind of words do you use that are like specifically medical? Like,
Yeah. What are some words?
I don't know. Endometriosis.
That's-
Urine thickening.
That's
see,
jargon.
that's
I
jargon.
didn't know there was a specific word to describe that as jargon. I
That's
didn't
so
know
funny.
that.
I love
Okay.
that.
I thought that's why I said it. I thought you were just making up a word. Like, what do you mean?
Well, thanks for that. I'm going to just continue.
What was the question?
No, I'm
I'm going to answer the question.
I was just going to say, like, if you heard somebody using, like, the right jargon, like she's using with real estate,
Yeah.
like,
I'd be comfortable around them.
Yeah,
like
you
if
would-
somebody came up to me, like a float in my clinic, and was just like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo," I'd be like, "Hey, no, she knows what she's talking about."
or
Okay.
like yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I'd be comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's especially chilling is how normal the interaction was. There was no rush tone, no erratic behavior, no obvious red flags. If anything, the caller sounded polite, organized, and almost reassuring. And that's what made it, like, made this whole thing work. Lindsay didn't feel pressured. She didn't feel unsafe. She felt like she was doing her job. But there was subtle details that only stood out later. So the caller, again, they insisted on seeing that house, that specific house. She insisted on meeting during daylight hours, and she insisted she would come alone. No second agent, no colleague tagging along, just her. At the time, none of this was unusual to raise alarms. Real estate agents often meet clients solo anyways. Buyers often want privacy. Daytime showings are considered more safe. So it's just like, okay, why are you saying this stuff when this is all just normal anyways?
Yeah, but just saying it out loud to me would be a red flag. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so Lindsay reportedly told people afterward that something about the caller felt off. Like, there was no alarms, there was no threats. It was just a strange feeling she had. The woman had a slight accent. One Lindsay couldn't quite place or put it to a place, you know. Some described it as European. Others described it as like it sounded forced, almost inconsistent. Like they were trying to use an accent, but they didn't do it properly. So they're trying to just, I don't know. You know how you hear people do like British accents, like, oh, what's your day today? Yeah, something like that. Azzilee.
Yeah.
So that detail, when I was reading it, it sticks with me. When someone sounds almost naturally, but not quite like. You have like that trigger where like something's not okay. Like you've told me before, like, oh, I don't feel right about this person or something. What is that like? Is it too vague to act on that when you just have like a gut feeling, or just should you act on that?
It's hard to say. It depends on the situation. Because there's a lot of situations where I'm like, no, I'm just being paranoid. I just gotta get over it. And then like it happens, and I'm like, fuck, I should have listened to my gut. And then sometimes like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not doing that. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the situation.
Yeah. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have kind of like a perfect example of this. So my office was all going to order Jimmy John's. Like everyone in this office was going to order Jimmy John's, right? And they're like, okay, well, we're not going to order it all together as a group. You have to order it by yourself. You pay for it. And one girl was going to go pick it up. And then I was telling Blacklabel, I was like, I don't think I want to do that. Someone's is going to be left out. Like it's going to be mine. Mine is going to be left out. I don't want to do that. And I texted Blacklabel. I was like, hey, you want Jimmy John's for lunch? Like, if you can go get it and bring me mine, that'd be great. So he went and brought me mine and my coworkers. And guess what? Somebody's was left out. I was like,
and it was like a long wait too, right?
Yeah. And like Blacklabel had gave me my lunch when we all said we were going to meet. We were going to meet at 12:30 because it was somebody's last day and she was leaving the clinic. So we're like, okay, we're all going to meet, have lunch together at 12:30. I got there at 12:30, ate my Jimmy John's, and went back to work before they even got theirs.
What?
Yeah. I was like, I fucking knew it.
Yep.
Just saying, listen to your gut.
Yeah.
Listen
You
to
should
your-
always listen to your gut. There should never be an instance where you don't listen to it.
Yeah, and for that, this case is kind of like that. So nothing crossed the line. There was nothing to justify her canceling on this person. So nothing really screamed danger. And when danger doesn't announce itself, most people will say, I'm going to keep moving forward, kind of like Azzilee said. The calls continued. Details were confirmed. The showing was set. And by the time Lindsay arrived at the house, the people on the other end of those calls had already done the hardest part of the crime. They earned her trust, the control, everything. They controlled the narrative. They got exactly what they wanted. They got her where she wanted, without force, without threats, without any suspicion. And that's what makes this case so disturbing, is that the murder didn't start with violence. It started with a conversation. And whoever was on the other end of that phone knew exactly what to do and what sounded normal and how to sound normal. So the day of the showing on February 2nd, 2008, like it started like a regular day, like another work day for her. It's a Saturday, which for real estate means showings, phone calls, moving from house to house. Nothing about that morning suggested it would end in tragedy. So, man, I felt like I have asthma or something.
You're getting short of breath.
Yeah, like all the time.
Sorry.
So Lindsay wasn't rushing. She wasn't stressed. She wasn't acting out of character. She told people she had a showing scheduled for the afternoon, just one, a simple walkthrough of the newly built home in Saanich. And after that, she planned to meet her boyfriend. So normal plans, normal expectations, and that's what made this part of the story hard to sit with. because when somebody suddenly disappears, and people often look for signs, anxiety, fear, hesitation, but in Lindsay's case, there was nothing. There's like nothing obvious to look out for. She arrived at the house around 5:30, so it was still daylight. Neighbors were quiet. Streets looked calm. Like there's nothing sketchy. To anyone watching from outside, it looked like a normal routine appointment for the showing. And then something changes. Neighbors later reported seeing a man and a woman, near the property around that time. A couple matching that description they gave. Tall, well-dressed, calm. They weren't rushing. They weren't arguing. They weren't doing anything that drew attention. They looked like they were pretending to be, or they looked exactly like they were pretending to be. They didn't look out of place. So at some point during the showing, Lindsay stopped responding to calls and responding to her cell phone. Her phone went silent. At first, no one panicked. Showings run long. Agents miss calls all the time. There was no reason to assume anything was wrong yet. But as minutes turned into hours, concern set in. Her boyfriend tried calling. Friends tried reaching her. There was nobody able to get a hold of her. There was no answer. Yeah, and eventually someone went to the house. And that's when everything kind of broke open. Inside, Lindsay was found stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of forced entry, no overturned furniture, nothing obvious of a struggle spilling into the street. The house looked almost untouched, except for what happened inside. So, Geisha.
Yeah.
This is one of the hardest things to process in this case.
Okay.
How contained it all was. Like, nothing happened. Nothing spilled out. Does that make you feel like it was more... Obviously, it was planned, but does it, like, feel like these people knew exactly what they were doing from the get-go?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. I didn't understand the question, but okay.
Azzilee,
Yeah.
does it make it feel more planned to you? Like the people knew exactly what they were doing? How contained it was?
I think so. Like, they seemed to have everything, like, organized very well, right? So they like, got her there. They knew how to get her there. And then they managed to kill her with, like, nobody was just like, oh, that's really strange.
And what's really weird to me is because, like, normally I would assume if you're trying to kill somebody, you don't want to stab them with a knife, because that you can probably stab yourself too in the struggle. I'm surprised they didn't use like some sort of silencer or something else other than like stabbing her, maybe like choking her out or something. You know,
maybe
what I mean?
they didn't get a gun because that could be traced. Like, they can get records because you have to go through a database to get guns.
True.
Knives you can just like buy. They'll just sell you a hunting knife.
Yeah.
So that would probably be why they went that route.
Yeah.
So they would have no trace. But yeah, you're right. Like, there's just a lot of things that can go. Like, what if she struggled hard enough to where they were injured?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. So obviously there was no robbery. And if it wasn't random, then why did this happen? Because this whole case lacks any motive. It looks... There's no way to look at intent, because in this case it feels like it was deeply unsettling. By the time the police arrived, the couple seen earlier was gone. There was no license plate on this car. There was no clear direction of travel and no immediate trail. So it was like they just disappeared, which is weird because most of the time there's so many like CCTVs or Ring cameras be able to find anything, you know?
Well, didn't you say this was a new construction? So maybe if it was a new construction, most
Did I say
houses...
that?
Yeah, I think you
Oh,
did.
the house was being newly constructed, yeah.
The house. So if it's a newly constructed house, then maybe the whole development is newly constructed, so nobody's there.
That might make sense.
That
Might
would
make
make
more
sense.
Like there's nobody
Maybe
around.
like there's a few houses that are filled, but they're like few and far in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, a crime scene that didn't make sense. So, when the investigators entered the house, one thing became clear almost immediately. This was, again, not a chaotic crime scene. There was no furniture overturned. There was no signs of violent struggle spilling from room to room. Instead, they felt it, like I said, controlled. Lindsay had been stabbed multiple times, and a level of violence that almost immediately tells you that this wasn't accidental or impulsive, and yet the rest of the house looked like it was almost untouched. So it obviously was planned. No forced entry, no broken windows, no sign of robbery. that contrast is unsettling because it suggests that whoever did this wasn't reacting. They were executing something that they already decided to do. Geisha, when you hear that the house wasn't torn apart, does that make you feel more planned to you, like I said? Like this wasn't just escalated out of nowhere?
Was the house completely empty, like bare bone? I would anticipate so.
They probably just, it was a showing house. So I'm assuming that they had
a stage?
Yeah, like a showing. Yeah.
Oh, like a staging. What is it called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know. This is a weird one. This is a weird crime to me.
Yeah. Wait, maybe pay attention more.
I am paying attention.
Okay. Azzilee. I'm curious about your reaction here, because when you hear multiple stab wounds paired with no chaos, does that immediately signal intent to you rather than emotion?
Yeah, but also it leads me to think, like, did she know them, or did she just, like, choose not to put up a fight? Or were they just, like, really prepared to where they, like, got her in the house, sedated her enough to just, like, murder her, and then it was, like, done?
Yeah.
You know? Like, where is her fight in this whole thing? Because that's what I'm curious about. Like, well, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, so police quickly ruled out robbery as a motive. Nothing of value was taken. Lindsay's belongings were still there. The house itself hasn't been disturbed. So if it was about money and it wasn't random, that leaves something much darker than what is being considered. So in some cases, in theories, people believe that this was personal. But here's where the case becomes even more disturbing. There were no defensive wounds reported. So, like, she didn't, it's like she didn't fight back at all.
Did they, like...
Drug her?
Yeah. Use that chloroform.
Yeah. So that detail has sparked endless debate. Some people believe that Lindsay may have been caught completely off guard. Others think it meant she was restrained, or that the attack happened so quickly she didn't have time to react. Because no matter how you look at it, like, it points back to planning. Investigators also believe that there was two people involved, not just because what witnesses saw, but because of how the crime unfolded, like the logistics, the containment of it, the lack of mistakes. It's hard to do all this as one person, like to completely orchestrate everything alone without leaving so much behind. It's very, very hard unless you're some Dexter level person. Yeah. And from the very beginning, police believed that this wasn't a crime of opportunity. It was targeted, which raises questions investigators couldn't answer then and still can't answer now. So it's like, why was it Lindsay? She wasn't a random agent. She wasn't a celebrity. And she wasn't known to have enemies. So if she was chosen deliberately, why choose her? And how far in advance did they make this decision to get at her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If they didn't want money. Also, I wonder what links they would have to her. Like, did she have enemies?
Mm-hmm.
Did she... Or maybe it was like... Maybe the people knew, like, a different realtor, and, like, she snubbed a realtor at one point, so they hired these two people to, like, go after her. Because that would be the only thing that I could think of, right?
I believe she was well liked in her company.
Yeah, people are always going to say they liked the person who was murdered.
That's true. So they don't look like a suspect.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be like, nah, I fucking dislike that person.
She was such a problem.
She would steal my cells all the time.
Anybody who's murdered is going to be everybody's best friend.
That's true.
I ain't believing no one.
Yeah. So in the days immediately following Lindsay's murder, there was a sense that the case wouldn't stay unsolved for long. Like they were confident they had this shit in the bag. Police were confident. The media was watching closely. The public was. They were paying attention. Investigators had a clear timeline. They had witness descriptions. They had phone records tied to mysterious buyers. On the surface, this didn't look like a cold case in the making. But that's when the confidence didn't last long. Yeah. Early on, police focused heavily on the idea that this crime was connected to. God, what am I even saying?
What are you trying to say? Spit
Hold
out,
on.
Junior.
Hold on. Okay. Early on, police focused heavily on the idea that this crime was connected to Lindsay's personal life. So specifically her relationship with her boyfriend at the time, who was also a well-known figure in the local drug task force. Yeah. So that angle immediately complicated everything. Because once law enforcement starts looking inward at people close to the victim, it can slow the momentum of an investigation down and make it go all sorts of directions. Geisha.
Yeah.
When you just heard that, when I focused and said it correctly.
Yes.
When you hear that police zero in on people in Lindsay's like circle early, does that feel like a natural investigation step, or does it feel like a distraction from the very specific setup of this crime?
I feel like it's natural because if she didn't have any defensive wounds, one, it's either she was drugged, or two, she knew her person. They got close up and personal with her to stab her.
I believe if she was drugged, they would have found all the toxicology. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I'm waiting for the tox results. Again, I watched a lot of CSI.
Was her boyfriend like in like when you say drug task force, like did he do like sting operations? I don't know if that's a real term. I just know it from TV.
I just know that he's in the drug task force.
Cuz like wouldn't your first assumption be maybe he pissed somebody off, so they were like, yo, let's off his girlfriend because we can't get to him right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because then they would be organized because they're part of the crime.
Yeah. So when it comes to Lindsay's boyfriend, though, he was cooperative. You know, he cooperated fully. He provided alibis. He was eventually cleared. But by the time that chapter was closed, something important had already happened. And do you know what that was?
What?
Time passed. Witnesses' memories faded. Leads cooled off. The trail left by the fake buyers grew colder. Police did release composite sketches of the suspects, of the man and the woman, based on the witnesses' descriptions. The sketches circulated widely. People talked and tips came in, but nothing solid ever stuck. No confirmed identities, no arrests, no public breakthroughs. And that's kind of when the tone of the case shifted. Instead of urgency, there was silence. Instead of updates, there was vague statements. Instead of answers, there was theories. Geisha,
Yes.
how does it sit with you knowing that most visible suspects in this case, the couple, were never identified, despite being seen in public, in daylight, in the quiet neighborhood?
Like, again, I think my mind is just going straight back to, like, it's a newer development. So not a lot of people are around to be witnesses. Did they have any witnesses?
Yeah, they had all the people around the neighborhoods that seen these people.
Right, but did any of them come forward and describe them?
Yeah, that there's people describing what they look like, yes.
Oh, so what was your question?
Babe, I said, how does it sit with you knowing that the most visible suspects in this case, the people,
Yeah,
they were never identified despite being seen in public and all that stuff. Like, even with all the evidence, the cops were never able to identify them. Even with like digital, or not digital, but
I thought you said there wasn't any.
I said the couples had sketches. Police released composite sketches of the suspect, of the man and the woman, based on witnesses' descriptions.
Oh, okay.
And they
Circulated.
You're making me so frustrated. You're not even paying attention.
I am paying attention.
I said that not even a second before I even mentioned this question to you.
Yeah, well, sorry. Anyways, I was just a little confused. I feel like I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how to feel about it.
Thanks. All right, I'll come back to you later.
Come back to me later.
Awesome. Oh, okay. Okay, Azzilee.
So I'll have an answer later.
Yeah.
I'll have an answer later.
So, like, with all that happening, like I just asked her with her amazing answer, do you think it's weird, though, that they didn't get caught? Do you think that they were protected by circumstances and timing? Because, like, all of a sudden, it took so long to investigate their boyfriend, and then all these people.
Part of me would say yes, but also, what if their connections are, like, really high up? Like governmental, or maybe even the police department itself, or, like I said, like, crime organizations be paying off cops all the time.
All the time. I mean, look what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah. So, possibly.
Yeah.
Especially, 'cause it's so weird that, why would it take so, well,
So
that's not true. Sometimes it takes police a really long time to investigate things for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because they give tickets out to people who don't need them, and they're doing some stupid stuff instead of their actual job.
Yeah, don't be looking at me with my expired tabs, whatever, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
So, was this connected to organized crime? Was Lindsay targeted because of the people she knew? Was this a professional hit disguised as a random showing? None of these questions have been answered definitively, and the uncertainty has been like a big part of this case itself, because when investigators have evidence of planning but no clear motive, every possibility feels very plausible, and that's when it kind of like gets blurred and really messed up, when you start having multiple things that could be the reason. And by the end of the first year, one thing was clear. This wasn't a case that went cold because there was nothing to work with. It went cold because the people responsible left nothing behind. And that's what the real unease of this is, and that's when it starts setting in. So there's some theories that kind of make sense, but kind of don't. So once the investigation slowed down, theories rushed in, obviously, because we have, online sleuths. Mm-hmm. And what makes Lindsay Buziak's case so unsettling is that a lot of the theories sound plausible right up until they don't. So one of the most discussed possibilities is that this was connected to organized crime.
Oh,
the precision, the calm execution, and the lack of mistakes. People look at those details and think that this doesn't feel random. Mm-hmm. Some believe that Lindsay may have been targeted because of who she was dating at the time, someone connected in law enforcement and drug enforcement work.
That's what I'm saying.
The idea isn't that she may have been, or the idea is that she may have been used as leverage or worse, as a message to her boyfriend. But that's the problem with this theory. So if this was meant as a message, there was no follow-up, there was no warning, there was no claim of responsibility, and there was no escalation. It ended with her. But I'm going off topic. Who's to say that the boyfriend got the message loud and clear?
That's what I'm saying. How long was he in that task force still?
Yeah,
Did he change departments? I need to know his name so I can look him up.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with this case. Like
drug person.
The mom releases like videos every year of the anniversary talking about like somebody knows something and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So again, it ended with her. Another theory is that it was a mistaken identity, that Lindsay wasn't the target at all, that she just so happened to be the agent who answered the phone. And that idea is terrifying in a different way because it suggests that this crime wasn't personal. It was just like a transactional issue. Like someone just needed a real estate agent, any agent, and she was just so happened to be the one, and they took care of her,
I get what you're saying,
Yeah. The callers were very specific, though, so that's why there's some cracks. They knew what they wanted. They steered Lindsay to a particular house, which doesn't feel random at all. And then there's this idea that this was a personal vendetta, someone who knew Lindsay or knew of her and constructed an elaborate ruse to get her all alone. But investigators have never publicly identified anyone in her life who would fit that profile, obviously, because it might be something deeper, like Azzilee said. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have no obvious enemies, no known threats, no warning signs. So it's just like there's a lack of clear motive for this, in my personal opinion.
It could be like an instance where it really was just like completely random. They just picked a person to murder, and she was unfortunately the lucky one.
Yeah, it could have just been like 2 serial killers.
Yeah.
And this is what they do.
Like you said, Geisha.
Yeah.
It could be linked, and they just never looked further into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's like, they're like, oh, let's look for real estate agents that were killed. But no, it's just like literally anybody.
Yeah, anybody.
With the same MO.
Mm-hmm.
It just could be a pattern.
Yeah, and every theory explains one part of the crime, but none of them explain it all. So not the fake couple, not the controlled scene, and not the clean escape, not the silence afterward. And that's what makes this case linger a little bit longer than what it should be. So it's not that there's no answers. It's that every answer feels incomplete, which brings us to the most unsettling realization of all. If none of the theories fully fit, then maybe the truth is something simpler and scarier. Maybe the people who did plan this planned it carefully, executed it cleanly, and walked away knowingly that they had exactly what they were intending to do. They just wanted no drama, no spectacle, just disappearance, like Geisha suggested. Maybe it was just a crime they set up knowing that they can get away with it. And when a crime feels that deliberate, it forces you to sit with the thought of nobody wants to accept. Sometimes people just get away with things. Yeah.
I just want like thinking back, because 2008, the world wasn't that bad yet, right? So it's like, would people really just murder somebody without well, I guess serial killers.
There has to be.
Serial killers always just murder without reason, right?
Right, but serial killers have like, they like blondes, they like this, they like that, you know, and you can pick the pattern.
Yeah. And if there was no pattern, if they didn't find like, oh, these were serial killers and there's a pattern, it's like they would just randomly pick a woman for no benefit.
Yeah, it's very
Seems crazy
weird,
to me.
right?
Yeah, I feel like you're right, Az, that it has something to do with the boyfriend cop.
A lot of people think this.
That makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of people think
I'm not
that.
saying he did it, but his connections to that kind of world kind of like was unfortunate for her.
Yeah,
a lot of people do
definitely.
agree. So a family left in dark. So I talked about the mom and stuff. When a case goes cold, the attention fades quietly, the cameras leave, the updates slow down, and the world moves on. But for the family left behind, nothing really stops. Like, they still have to deal with everything. For Lindsay's parents, the years after her murder have been defined by unanswered questions and growing frustration, not just with the lack of arrest, but with the feeling that the case never received the sustained urgency it deserved. From their perspective, this wasn't a mystery with no leads. This was a case with witnesses, descriptions, phone records, and a very specific setup. Yet nothing came of it. They spoken publicly about the feeling shut out, like being shut out of the case, about the information being held from them, and about being told to trust the process. From the outside, it kind of just appeared that they were trying to stall. When you put yourself in that position of these parents, knowing that your child's killer is likely still out there, does the silence feel worse than bad news, do you think?
I definitely would think so.
Yeah. Because people always want closure, but it's like, man, the closure is probably the best thing. I guess during the waiting is probably like the worst thing, right?
Darn. Yeah. And I feel like that kind of plays in more to like mob hit type situation, that the police are kind of like cut off and not taking it seriously, and like, maybe there's some cops on the payroll.
You know,
Cops are not all cops.
but I was about to say the same thing. I was like, it's like the world, the way you look at the world differently right now. It seems like a lot of corruption is out there, and I seen there was one police force with the corruption, and it involved like the deputy and the captain, and they were like having sex parties in their house. It was like, I forgot what it was. And there was like a big thing on Netflix and like on YouTube, and the guy is like, he confronted the captain, and it's on camera, and he just pulls out his gun and kills him. And he's like, because it was about like his daughter's phone was in the captain's phone for some reason, and he knows about like the bad stuff that they do. It's just like, there's a lot of weird, and you have to think that there's so many police stations in the world.
Yeah.
Different types of counties. And
I mean, even to this day, you see news reports all the time of cops who do like
bad
the
things,
stupidest shit, and then they have to get discharged because public outrage.
or they get caught doing stuff like that. One guy where remember the one, well, I don't know if I watched a lot of videos, and it was like one guy would pull people over on the side of the road and make them give him fellatio and stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then but she stood up, and for some reason he let her live, and she went out there and talked about it.
And they caught him.
He thought she was going to be too scared too, but she was like an older black lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she like stood up.
Yeah.
And she like let the world know.
Playing with him.
Yeah. It was a good one. But yeah, there's just, they do a lot of bad cops out there. A lot of good cops out there too, though. So, and yet, despite everything, the parents, they didn't stop pushing. They pushed towards everything. They continued to speak. They continued to ask questions, and they continued to remind the people that Lindsay wasn't just a case. She was a person, a daughter, a friend, and a professional doing her job. So it's just rough when the crime that happens, you know, it didn't end when the police left the house. It just continued every day without answers. And that ongoing silence is what kept this case from ever truly going cold. So, why this case still haunts people? Obviously, there's a ton of reasons. Sadly, too many. But some of them stick in a way that it's hard to explain. And the Lindsay Buziak case is one of those. Even people who don't know or only know the basics of what I'm telling still remember it because it wasn't solved. It was crazy how it happened. It was just a real estate showing, a quiet neighborhood, and a couple that vanished, but people knew about it. And it's simple enough to understand, but unsettling enough to see that it never really leaves your head, I guess, for those online sleuths, because I'm pretty sure it kind of like drives those guys crazy because they like to figure things out.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that other countries have like CCTV everywhere because their government watches them like a hawk. And people here in the U.S. are like, no, that's infringing on my rights. Bruh.
Yeah.
If we had CCTV, this would not be a problem. That would have been solved immediately.
Yeah, and it's always the people... I don't want to get into it.
Like, we need... It's for protection. It's not even for, like, government oversight, right? Like, why do you think people have dash cams, right? It's to protect yourself.
Yeah,
why do you think people have Ring cameras? To protect yourself.
And there's just always those weird people, too, like they put tape over their phone or tape over their laptops.
I get it, right? But that's like, then go off the grid if you're scared of that, right?
Yeah.
Like, move to the countryside and you will have no interaction with the government, no phone, no computer, no Wi-Fi, and you just live off the land.
Yep.
Do that.
Radio wave.
Live off the land.
Do that if that's what you're truly terrified of.
So...
I'm trying to be protected.
Yeah. I think a part of what makes this case linger is how ordinary everything was, too. This, like I said, this didn't happen in the middle of the night. It wasn't like a high crime rate area. And it wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't like something risky behavior or something going crazy when it happened, you know what I mean? It was just a house showing.
Yeah, it has something to do with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
For reals.
Yep. And this hits close to home for a lot of people too, because what makes it relatable, it's like relatable in the worst way, because it's another reason that this case sticks out is like it lacks chaos. Like this could happen to anybody. There was no dramatic chase. There was no frantic 911 call. There was no last minute clue that changed everything. It was just silence. Like these people go in there, look at a house. Hours later, they find this lady dead with no defensive wounds. The couple walks away. The trail goes cold. Like you said, it has to be something to do with like more than what's out there, you know?
Yeah, for reals.
Yeah. So some of the questions that won't go away, like even after everything we've talked about, I said I brought up the planning, the fake buyers, the clean crime scene, the stalled investigation.
How many times was she stabbed?
They said multiple. Yeah. For some reason in my head, I think it's 14, but I think it's just multiple times. I don't know exactly how many times.
They set it up like Dexter. There was like plastic on the floor, so blood wouldn't get anywhere. Sorry, I just thought about that.
Yeah, Dexter's crazy. That's a good show, though. And they're not small questions, though. Like, they're not the kind of that stay with you long after the episode ends, too. The biggest ones are obvious. It's who was this couple? Who were they? Like, who was this lady with this accent? They weren't ghosts. They were seen. They were described. They were real people standing in the daylight. They have phone records of them. And yet, more than a decade later, their identities remain unknown. Geisha, does this feel unsettling to you that two people could be seen clearly enough to get a sketch and still completely disappear?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's got to be some sort of, like, I don't know. I feel very strongly because the boyfriend's in drugs. And drugs have, like, ties to gangs and mobs and so on and so forth, who then can, like, you know, do this type of stuff. Yeah. And then just disappear.
Yeah. Like people are really good at being chameleons, so they can blend in anywhere. You can like disguise yourself, especially. Well, I guess 2008. Well, there was probably still pretty good like cosplay, right? So they could like dress up and like change their appearance really easily. Okay. Yeah.
It's sad.
I just think it's like it's just so bizarre that the police wouldn't just think like, Because maybe the boyfriend wasn't like that deep into the department to where he had enemies or people knew his identity. So maybe that's why it wasn't like linked to him or his job profession.
But it should have been. It should have been looked at as a possibility.
There's a ton of things that I didn't cover though. So like I pulled up like it was like 5 years ago, but it was like Reddit, and they talked about like some of the new information that popped up. So
Reddit's
they don't play.
Great, yeah.
So although it was previously reported that the caller had received Lindsay's contact information through a referral, there was no mention of this in police reports. So somehow they found out there. So who was the person that referred them, you know? There were 10 calls between Lindsay and the prospective client. Lindsay saved the caller as $1 million in her phone and did not record their name anywhere. So it was just $1 million for their name. Very interesting.
Maybe because their budget was $1 million.
The day before the showing, Shirley Zilo, Jason's mother, I think that's the boyfriend? I think that's the boyfriend's name. Let me confirm. Boyfriend.
Lindsay Buziak, boyfriend.
Yeah, his name was Jason Zilo. So a day before, Shirley Zilo, Jason's mother, overheard a 15-minute conversation between Lindsay and the caller. The caller wanted to see the houses late into Saturday and throughout Sunday. Lindsay had a friend's bachelor party on Saturday night of the showing and still planned to attend despite the showing starting at 5:30. Before the showing, Lindsay stopped by the Remax office and asked the receptionist and another coworker to look up the $1 million call number or their number to see if they had the contact information from like if any other agents called them. The receptionist stated that Lindsay was freaked out by the showing. Lindsay had a late lunch with her boyfriend Jason before the showing, and they ate fast as she wanted to change before the showing. Jason offered to take her over to the showing, but she declined. Saanich police stated that Lindsay received no Facebook messages from January 24th to February 3rd, and that it appeared that some chat messages had been deleted. However, I mean, you should be able to figure that out, like what messages were deleted or whatever.
Can't they get records?
Yeah.
Like phone companies can do that, right?
Yeah. And they said, however, they were unable to determine what messages has been deleted, even though Facebook was relatively new, or it was new at the time.
Oh, it was
newer.
on Facebook.
Yeah, and it was like newer at the time. It was strange that Lindsay would have no messages with this time, as she was rather popular. So it was believed that these messages are wall post messages, I guess. Says Lindsay's laptop was provided to the police by Jason. Police did note that Lindsay was friends with violent criminals on Facebook who were involved in drugs. So there's like a lot of stuff that seems like around drugs. Like her man's in a drug task force. She's talking to drug dealers, got money, $1 million in her phone.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of stuff in this case that seems very weird. And I feel like that's what happens with a lot of cold cases too that aren't solved, that so much stuff starts popping up and then everything gets misconstrued.
That's true. It might have nothing to do with the boyfriend or the drug community or, criminal overlords. But
Overlords.
That's where my mind goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird. But because remembering Lindsay keeps this case alive, and sometimes attention is the only thing standing between the case and being forgotten, and one day it might be reopened. I mean, justice doesn't always look like handcuffs. Reddit has helped many times. People on internet sleuths help all the time. Like, something will happen eventually.
I wonder, there had to have been something, like when the killers set up their kill zone, they must have had something like protection everywhere, because, or like, I don't know, when I think of stuff, I'm like, there's no way that you did all of this stuff and like hair follicles or something didn't fall off or wasn't found at the crime scene,
not even
or wasn't
thing of blood.
Yeah, it wasn't found on the victim, nothing like that. Like, that's insane, because maybe they didn't like check her body well enough. I don't know.
I think the phone too, that contacted her was a burner phone, but I'm not 100%
Of course
sure.
it was.
Yeah, that would make. I guess that's normal, right? You don't want to get tracked with your own phone.
Yeah.
But they couldn't find out where it was purchased at.
That's why it's weird. 'Cause,
Like they wouldn't check
exactly.
any of like convenience stores or like places that would sell it.
I do recall her mom talking about something with the police being very hush-hush and not helping them out or letting them know more. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's just all suspicious.
It's very, very suspicious case.
Yeah, very weird.
They're not helping themselves.
Yeah.
Making themselves look bad.
Yep. So again, she was a real person. Her life was ended violently, and whose story deserves to be told and hopefully one day solved. Maybe somebody one day will finally speak if they know something. But until then, all we can do is remember and keep asking the questions that never really went away or never really were answered by police at the time. But yeah, that's all I have for the Lindsay Buziak case. You guys want to add anything?
Also, I just thought about this. So, if she had a contact in her phone that said $1 million, and she had ties to like drug dealers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's a real estate agent, and they've been making bank on like some properties. Maybe she was like in that world before her boyfriend, or like through her boyfriend. She got into like
Big
buying,
time.
like selling and buying houses for people like that.
Yeah.
So that got her tied into it in some way.
Where was this located?
Sanic, British Columbia.
Oh, British
Canada?
Columbia, Canada. I was gonna say, well, if they have a drug force, task force at their local police department,
Loco.
then there's got to be a lot of drugs in that area. So maybe you're onto something. Maybe she kind of dabbled in the high.
I mean, Canada's not a great place from what I've heard. It's
Yeah, certain areas.
Yeah, certain
Yeah.
areas are pretty bad.
Maybe she like sold some houses to some drug dealers and
Like flipping him or doing something. I don't know.
yeah,
What was the supposed time of her death?
5 something.
Yeah,
5
The
PM?
5:30.
showing was at like 5:30.
The showing was at 5:30.
Yeah.
And in February, it gets dark fast. I ain't
Yeah.
leaving the house past 4:30.
And she had a bachelorette party to go to afterwards, so it's kind of like she wasn't.
I guess she was already gonna be out.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's all I got. You guys want to add anything? You guys good?
I added what I had.
Yeah.
It's so sad. I hope that they solve it soon.
Yeah. So until then, keep grinding those levels and finishing those side quests.
As always, this has been Co-op Chronicles with Pint-Sized Geisha, Blacklabel, and me, Azzilee.
Bye.
We gather round the mic, tales of knights and dice, gaming worlds collide, hobbies come alive.